Hello everyone, welcome to Better Tech. I am Hasib Khan. So today we have Suzy with us, and Suzy, I would like to welcome you on the show. So why don't you go ahead and give us a quick introduction about yourself?
My name is Suze Yalof Schwartz, and I'm the CEO and founder of Unplug Meditation, which is a meditation app that is global and also the world's first drop-in meditation studio that's physical, located in Santa Monica, California. I used to be in the fashion industry for a couple decades and was super stressed out, and my mother-in-law taught me how to meditate. And in those 3 minutes, I completely transformed and decided to quit the fashion industry and focus full-time on meditation so that I could share it with people far and wide.
That's a pretty awesome story, Suzy. But I would say that fashion and meditation, these are sort of two completely different pieces of the puzzle, right? So how does the idea of meditation business came about? You mentioned that it was a mother-in-law and you were going through a stressful time and meditation helped you. But really, did it, strike you in a fashion that you thought to start a business out of it? How did it happen?
Well, what happened was that, I was doing makeovers, which is where you transform people on the outside. So I would cut their hair, I would put their makeup on, I would get them dressed up, I would hire photographers, and they would go inside Glamour magazine. But what I realized was the thing that really makes you beautiful is the way you feel on the inside. So if you're gorgeous and have everything, it doesn't matter if you don't feel good. And what happened was when I learned how to meditate, I was like, wow, this is so powerful. Where can I go learn? And at the time, there was not an easy place to go learn. So I said, why isn't there a place where you could just kind of go in and 30 minutes later come out feeling great? And I started searching everywhere. It didn't exist anywhere. And that's when I decided, wow, meditation needed a makeover and I was going to be the one to do it. And so I had this vision of exactly how I wanted my studio to be, the kind of teachers that I wanted to teach there. The way that they would teach would be simple, easy, and powerful. And I just couldn't stop thinking about it. And when you can't stop thinking about an idea, that's when you know you need to do it. And that's what happened to me.
Right, that's quite motivating. But as you have said that before starting Unplug, right, you were into the fashion industry. So, was that the only experience that you had before you started Unplug, or you were up to some other things as well?
No, I actually worked in fashion for over 20 years, and I was the executive fashion editor at large of Glamour. I had a job where I was on television, all the major networks in America, all the newspapers, journalists, doing a lot like that. I had never run a business before. I had no business even running a business. But what happened was this idea was so powerful that I asked my friend, what should I do? And she said, you'll learn as you go. And I've really been learning as I've been going.
Right. So in the fashion industry also, you were one of those people who were at the backstage, or you were on the
Both,
front side as well?
both, both. I would do all the backstage coverage for television. And then I would be on the, in the seats in the front row, taking notes and figuring out what clothes were going to go into the magazine.
All right, that sounds exciting. So
Yeah, it was fun.
when you started your business, right? You probably, were the first one to actually start this company, right? And then you actually took the CEO position as well. So what was, something that you found rewarding as a CEO, and something which is still challenging? So when you started, you must be struggling and all those things. And being CEO, it must have been a very stressful job, and you might have like reduced that over the time. But there would be still some challenges. So would you like to talk about it a bit?
Yeah, one of the biggest challenges as CEO is that you're responsible for the success of your business. So I feel that responsibility every day. And when you first start a business, you basically do everything. Whether you're if you're the founder and CEO, you're kind of starting at the bottom, working to the top, one day you're, dealing with the top talent in the world in meditation. The next day you're dealing with a customer who can't get onto the internet.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like you wear many, many hats. And I love that. I found that very exciting. But at the same time, if you're going to grow a business, you really need to hire people to help you grow. So I've definitely hired people to run the studio. And then we created the app. So we hired a whole tech team to help us with the app. So I now am working with a lot of different teams, kind of overseeing them as we grow Unplug.
Right, 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 right. So, being the CEO as you are, what would you like to change uh, about being a CEO? I mean, if you would have to change something, go back and see, like, okay, if the CEO role would have this thing, it should have been better or something.
I would have hired more people sooner.
Mm-hmm.
I would have focused on the goal rather than getting caught up in the weeds, as we say in America, which means like you're dealing with all the small stuff that you can never get above it and see the big picture. I think that's still a challenge for me, to be honest with you. But my goal this year is to really grow Unplug so that it is bigger than me and being run by people who are professionals in all these different areas. So finding more people who are pro in those different areas would be better. I think the CEO should be looked at more like the conductor of an orchestra.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is when you're a founder and you're starting, you are not only the conductor, you actually are the orchestra. So I'm now looking to build my orchestra so
Mm-hmm.
I can be more of the conductor.
Right. So we have seen and we have also read a lot about the management styles or the leadership styles of various CEOs. I mean, there would be hardly two CEOs who actually has the same um, leadership style. So, what's your leadership style in general?
I mean, I like to hire people who are the opposite of me and they have the strengths that I lack. And then I really respect them for that, but that I like them. And I try to treat everybody with respect. And even though sometimes my tendency is to be more of a micromanager, I have to force myself to kind of let people run their own course. So I empower people. I give them the opportunity to swim in a lot of different lanes, to learn a lot. I think people who work for me end up going really far because they learn everything. I'm doing everything, they're doing everything. So, yeah.
Right. So, as I mean, you know that we are in a difficult time, every one of us. I mean, we have a global pandemic, then, I mean, there is a lot of stress out there. So, what do you think that technology apps like Unplug can help people get through the stress of COVID-19 in which we are in right now?
Well, I think what Unplug, the meditation app, does is it gives people the tools to deal with that stress. So, whether you have anxiety, stress,
Mm-hmm.
can't sleep at night, or finding yourself stress eating, or not feeling focused, feeling more distracted, we have a meditation for that specifically. And the reason why we're so different is that we make our meditations really fun and short. So most of them are under 10 minutes. So you can completely shift your mindset in under 10 minutes, led by a top teacher in the world via video. So you feel like connected to them. It's kind of like YouTube, where you go to YouTube to learn things. And sometimes you get overwhelmed because there's so much choice and you're like, okay, who should I trust here? Everybody's trying to sell me something. But what we did at Unplug is we curated the top teachers in the world
Mm-hmm.
and we present them in a way that's friendly to the masses, to even the busiest skeptics.
Mm-hmm. So, also, like, we have seen a shift towards working from home now, um, and a lot of companies are encouraging people to work from home as that's the only choice right now, we can say. So, how, in your opinion, has technology facilitated this shift?
Well, I think in one way, it's really connecting us all. But in another way, it's disconnecting us to ourselves. So we spend a lot of time connecting via Zoom or connecting on social media, and we're out there living externally, but we need to take some time to connect internally. So I think with meditation apps like Unplug, you're able to actually take some time for yourself so you can separate between who you are, what you want, and how you can kind of self-soothe during this tumultuous time to being able to find your best self to connect with others.
Right.
So I think it's hard right now, to be honest, working from home where I'm lucky because my son is in the office right next door. I come to work every day and I bring him with me. He's like homeschooling at the office. So that's been really great because we both get to go somewhere. But when you're home with the dogs and the 5 kids and you can't, you're so distracted, it's really hard. I have Zoom calls with people and there's people walking in and out of the frame all the time. And it's really hard, I think, for a lot of people. So the key is to find the way to focus and be in the present moment and be yourself in the present moment. Because when you are your best self in the present moment, you can do your best work.
Right. Right. So,
But
right.
I think we need to literally set some time on our schedule to be completely unplugged.
Hmm. So,
Look at the sign behind me. We
yeah.
need to do this. We need to just not be so plugged in and give ourselves some space to be bored, some space to listen to what we really want. Like I think that's important.
Hmm. So, what's the next big thing for Unplug?
Well, right now we're doing live streaming because our studio is closed. So we're doing live streaming on our platform. But the next big thing would be to take the live streaming on the platform and actually merge it onto the app. So we are going to start kind of taking that content and merging it with the app and really kind of growing the app. Like, would love for it to be big in Pakistan.
Hmm.
Get
Absolutely.
all your friends meditating, you
Sure.
know?
Yeah. So, before we close, what's your message for the future CEOs, people who are planning to start their own venture or their own companies, and of course, some of them will be the CEOs of their company. So, what is the like a couple of advices for them?
Okay, my advice would be do not be afraid. You can do this. You can learn anything and everything by yourself on YouTube. Go onto YouTube and search how to make a business plan, how to come up with a strategy, how to, incorporate yourself. You can find all this stuff and it is available to you completely free. So you will learn as you go. And the other thing I want to tell you is that that's actually the best part. People don't talk about this. They think like growing companies and making the money, that's the best part. It is not the best part. The best part is just learning and conquering all these new skills you never knew that you had the capacity to have. And that for me has been my absolute favorite part. I would say my tip to you would be definitely come up with a plan and a strategy and a vision of what you want. And then don't just let go of it because it's going to change 6 months into it. So go back and every like month on the first of the month, revise that plan. I have not done that myself, but I'm going to start. That's the one thing that I wish I had known way back when, that I've learned the hard way. So don't make the mistakes that I have. Hire people early. Don't try to do everything on your own because solopreneurs don't go very far.
Mhm.
Hire great people, even if it means outsourcing. We've outsourced our app, we've outsourced our payroll, we've outsourced our legal. You don't need to have everything in house. Actually, the more outside of your hemisphere, sometimes it's the better. So you can do this. Just you got to believe, you got to trust the process and enjoy the process because that's really what it's all about.
Right, right. So, Suzy, that was, I believe, a valuable piece of advice for the aspiring CEOs. And in the end, I would like to really thank you for your time and making us speak to you about the role in general and unplug and talk and sharing your experiences with us.